Hey folks, J Love here back with another video. Um, I want to talk to y'all about something that really pissed me the fuck off. It pisses me the fuck off. Um, so I hate when, and maybe this is something that I had no business doing in the first place, and that's talking to a friend about issues that I'm having with another friend. But we've all done that, right? We've all did a little bit of, I guess you would call that gossiping. But I wasn't really bad mouthing my friend. I felt like I kept it funky, and I also brought up things that I did wrong in the relationship, and in this particular situation that caused us to be in the bad place that we're in right now and caused us to fall apart. One thing that people always say about me is they always say, one thing about Jay is Jay don't lie. You know what I mean? If Jay robbed a bank, he going to tell you like he robbed the bank. Like, I robbed the bank, I did it. You know, and that's just me. I keep it funky. That's just what I'm known to do. And I'm really good at taking accountability. People will tell you they call me Mr. Accountability. That's like my nickname amongst my associates and family. They say, that's Mr. Accountability. You know, before he tell you about what the other person did to him, he gonna tell you what he did. He gonna tell you everything that he did. You know, to the point you gonna be asking him, can you get to what the other person did? Because I feel like if you don't keep it real, then how you gonna really know who's in the wrong in the situation if you're not being real? If you really care about that person and you want to maintain a friendship with that person and you genuinely want to know who was in the wrong, or you want that person's real opinion on who was in the wrong, then you have to tell them the full story, and you have to tell them the truth. You have to tell them both sides, because there's always two sides to a story, and then it's the truth, you know. And so I always try to be objective whenever I have gone to a friend to express my frustrations about things that are happening in another friendship. I don't really do that often, you know. I usually take things to my therapist, but there are times where I would go to a friend because they was maybe the only person available at the time. And I'm sure all of you guys can relate to this or have done this at one point in time and have experienced this. So it's this one particular friend, and I don't think I should have brought it to him because me and him haven't really been on good terms. I should have probably brought it to a friend that I haven't really had a bad history with. I haven't really had too many arguments with or problems with, because they probably would have listened with an objective air. They would have listened with the intent of not looking for ways to prove that I was wrong. Because I feel like sometimes, and that's why it's important to make sure that whenever you have issues in a friendship, or whenever you've been through something with somebody in a friendship or a relationship, that they are truly over whatever it is you've done to them, and that you are truly over whatever it is. They are truly over whatever you've done to them, because that it lingers. It lingers. It does. And sometimes you come to the realization that maybe we can never be. Maybe we can never fuck with each other again, because it seemed like you're just not letting that situation go. You're not letting that argument or that fight or, you know, that problem that we had, you're not letting it go. And I realized that yesterday with this particular friend that I was talking to about my other friend. I hate, and I'm sure all of you can relate to this, I hate when you're telling a friend something And it don't even have to be you telling them about an issue that you're having with another friend. It could be you telling them an issue that you had with your pastor, or somebody at your church, or one of your co-workers, or, just an incident you had, in public, on the bus, or at the store, or in the laundromat. And I don't even want to mention this person's name. Y'all know who I'm talking about. That name begin with a D. He would always do that. He would always do this. Like, when I would tell him, yeah, so I'm just making up something right now. It's not a true story. Because I can't think of a situation or incident that I shared with him. So I'm just going to make up one. So, say for example, I go to this friend. I tell this friend, yeah, I was at the laundromat and I had my earphones on and I was listening to Whitney Houston on my earphones, and this lady, she walked by me and got all nasty and told me to turn my music down. And I turned my music down. I said, okay, ma'am, I'll turn it down. And I turned my music down. And then she came back and then she was like, you ain't have to be a bitch about it. And then your friend stepped in and said, well, do you think maybe she just didn't like your tone of voice, the way that you responded to her? Or do you think, it was the way you was looking at her when you said it that made her go off on you? And I'm all for people being objective. I'm all for people exploring the possible things that you did wrong in the situation, because that's called being a real friend and holding your friend accountable and not being biased or just, I don't want a yes man or yes ma'am. I don't want nobody just agreeing with me like, yeah, she was wrong. Yeah, she was wrong. I want you to check me if you feel like I was wrong. But sometimes you feel like the person is just being, they're like they're like in favor of the other person just a little too much. Because it's like, not one time did you agree with anything. Like, not one time did you hold that person accountable. It's almost like you keep looking for ways to blame me or prove that I was at fault in the situation or that I was wrong in the situation. And when people say, do you feel that maybe they felt that you was, or maybe they thought you was, I'm like, is that what you thinking? Is that what you thinking? Because how do you know what they thinking? Maybe it's you. Maybe this is what you are thinking. And the reason that you know that this is what they thinking is because these are things that they have previously said about you in your friendship with them. These are previous complaints that they've had with you. And it's like they're personalizing it and they're looking at things through their eyes and not just objectively listening to what you're saying. Probably like thinking in their mind, he probably did, because I remember how he talked to me. Well, I know, he probably was playing that music a little too loud, because he do like to blast his music. And he do have a little nasty mouth. So when the lady, asked him to turn the music down, I can imagine that he probably looked at her with an attitude and cursed her out. Where he probably said some slick shit because he do it to me. I hate when people do that. Because every situation is different. You know what I'm saying? And they try to draw these parallels between things that you've done to them in your friendship with them and what issues you're having with your friend that you're telling them about, or a situation that you have with another person. They try to draw these parallels, you know what I mean? And they automatically, they're listening with a biased air, you know what I mean? They're automatically thinking that you were in the wrong because they're thinking about what you had done to them. And you can't do that. That's dangerous. You know what I mean? Because every relationship is different. And I remember friends that told me that in the past, and I would have to tell them, that particular friend, I would have to tell him, like, listen, in our friendship is completely different. The whole dynamic is completely different than my friendship with Johnny. You know, um, in my friendship with Johnny, I'm more of the submissive one. In my friendship with you, I'm a little more dominant. You know, Johnny is really um what word can I use? Johnny is overbearing. You are very docile, so you can't compare. You know, um, you're not really talkative. So on the phone with you, I'm like the dominant one. I'm the one that's doing most of the talking. When it comes to Johnny, he's way more talkative to me than me. So when I'm on the phone with him, I can't get a word in edgewise. So you can't compare how I talk to you on the phone with how I talk to him on the phone. You can't try to make these parallels or try to find these commonalities in both friendships because it's the dynamic is completely different. And I just hate when people do that, and people do that a lot. They think about how you treated them or something you said to them or how you are with them and use that to determine whether or not you were right or wrong in another situation with another friend or another person. And that's why me and this friend end up having a falling out. You know what I mean? I'm like, I shouldn't even had brought it to him because he's still holding on to shit. You know, this is a particular friend of mine. It's a new friendship. And I ain't gonna go into detail, man. First of all, he got a drinking problem, right? And that's been the cause of most of our fallouts. It's his drinking. You know what I mean? Every time he come over and we chill, you know, nothing good ever comes out of it because he gets drunk, and when he gets drunk, he just start, you know, blabbering off at the mouth. He don't shut up. He don't know how to calm down. You can't get control of him. You know what I'm saying? He don't have any self control when he get drunk. He's basically an alcoholic to a degree. You know what I mean? Not even to a degree. He's an alcoholic. You know what I'm saying? But there are things that I've done that I know I shouldn't have done. There's things in that friendship that I've done to contribute to our problems. It's definitely not all him being drunk. It's not just the alcohol. You know, I think that I talked to him. I have spoken to him in ways that were inappropriate, but I think that's just because of the level of frustration. You know what I mean? You're dealing with somebody that's alcoholic, and it's like, you know, for example, I told him, like, keep it down, like, be a little quiet, man. I got neighbors, you know what I mean? Like, we can celebrate and jump around when we watching the Eagles game and shit like that, but just try to keep it down a little bit, you know what I mean? Like, when we not watching the game, like, you don't gotta talk so loud, you know, when you get drunk. You don't gotta yell and scream like you're very loud sometimes. And in his eyes, it's like, you think that you can talk to me the way you want to talk to me because I'm in your house. And I'm like, maybe I can be better at that. But if I'm at your house and you told me to shut the fuck up, I'm going to shut the fuck up. And the only reason why I said shut the fuck up is because I asked you to be quiet several times and you didn't listen. So that's when I had to raise my voice and become more assertive and aggressive because you wasn't listening. You know what I mean? You weren't respecting, you know, me in my house and the fact that I have neighbors and I don't want them, you know what I mean, hearing all this commotion because there's already been complaints about me and him. You know what I mean? We had a couple fights, arguments, you know what I mean? And a neighbor downstairs is real cool. She complained about it and said people talking about you and your friend, you know what I mean? Like, y'all gotta rectify whatever situation y'all have, or y'all gotta just be better because it's causing too many problems and people are talking. Like, what's going on? Because this is a nice neighborhood and we don't have a lot of drama out here. But back to what I was saying, I just hate when people try to put themselves in the person that you're having a problem with, like, you know, they try to put themselves in their shoes, and they're giving opinions based on your relationship with them, like they're personalizing it, and I don't like that. It really pisses me off when people do that because I feel like they're not listening with an objective ear, and I feel like when motherfuckers do that, like when you got a friend that's always opposing, this particular friend, the one that y'all know about, he would do that too in the past. Like, he would always oppose everything that I would say. Whenever I would tell him about an issue I'm having with somebody else, It's like he would always take that other person's side. You know what I mean? Or always be like an advocate for that person. You know what I mean? He called himself trying to be fair and play devil's advocate, but it's like you're not trying to be fair because you haven't agreed with one thing that I told you yet. And maybe you just don't agree with me. You know what I mean? Maybe you just feel like I'm wrong, but I just find it hard to believe that you don't see nothing wrong with nothing that they did. You know what I mean? And then I noticed that he still was holding on to some animosity. This friend that I'm talking about, the situation the other day, because as I'm telling him what the person was doing, I'm like, why don't you find that crazy? Like, why don't you find what he said to be crazy? Why don't you find what he did to be crazy? Because that's undeniably fucked up what he did to me. But it just seemed like no matter how no matter how bad my friend did me, or no matter how bad, you know, the situation was on like my friend's part, he would react to it. But when I would tell him like little minor things that I did, he would like blow it up and make it out to be a big thing. And I'm like, yeah, you being biased and you still holding on to some, you know, you still got some animosity towards me. And you really not feeling me. And I think sometimes that's just when you have to end a friendship, when you see that a person just really don't fuck with you no more. You know what I mean? And it make me start to question whether or not you ever fucked with me. But I'm like, yeah, you just always agreeing with the other person. You're always opposing everything that I say. You know what I mean? And like I said, that friend that y'all know about, he used to do that very same thing, and it just brought back memories when I was talking to him about this the fallout that I had with my friend, and how he just was like, well, do you feel that maybe the way that you talk was the problem? You know, because you do, you know, sometimes you can be a little aggressive and you can cut people off, and you know, your tone is reckless. And I'm like, are you applying, are you trying to make a parallel to the issues that we have in our friendship with the issue that I'm having with him? Are you trying to use our problems and our friendship to prove that I'm wrong in this situation that I had with him? Like, you can't do that. Like, it's a completely different dynamic. It's a completely different situation. You know what I mean? But yeah, I hate when motherfuckers do that, man. I just wanted to get on here and rant about that, man, because that shit really pissed me off. You gotta watch who you tell things to, man, because and you know, sometimes doing this is good because you get to really see how that person feel about you. Because I thought that we had moved on. I thought that we had got past that, because it's been a while since we've had a problem. But it goes to show that a lot of times people never really get over prior, you know, fallouts that you had with them, or, you know, arguments or fights that you had with them. They never really get over it. You know what I mean? Like, I think that people, what they do is they suppress and they bury, you know what I mean? Or they put a rug over, you know, issues that you had with them. They may put some sugar on that shit, but they never really get over it. It's just like in a relationship, like how with a woman, you know what I mean? I know women do this a lot. You know, they say they over a man cheating, but then as soon as he do something that they don't like, they bring up the fact that he cheated. You know what I'm saying? It's like you never really get over it. And that's why I'm starting to believe that it's just best sometimes, especially when there's been a lot of issues, you know what I mean, to just move on and go your separate way. And it's okay. A lot of people want to hold on to friendships because they holding on to what once was. They holding on to that person's potential, or that relationship's what they believe that relationship could potentially be, instead of looking at what it is and accepting that this is the reality, and that things probably won't get better, and change probably won't come, and you guys would never get along the way you want to get along with this person. you know, the chemistry and compatibility that you want with this person, the peace that you want with this person, is probably never going to happen. But I think sometimes we stay in toxic relationships, and we stay in dysfunctional relationships, or we just stay in relationships that are just what I would just say tarnished. I just think some things you just can't come back from. I think that tension is always going to be there. I find that, you know, when you've had a lot of previous arguments or fights with a particular person, it's easy for conflict to occur in the future. You know what I mean? Because they already got in their mind this negative perception of you. They already feeling like a certain way about you. They already really don't fuck with you like that. They're just kind of tolerating you and just dealing with you because it's hard to find friends, you know, I feel, and people just don't want to let go sometimes of what's familiar, but sometimes you just have to let go, you know what I mean? And even though me and this guy haven't really been friends for long, I'm just seeing, like, I don't know if we can bounce back, bro, because you still kind of, even when we cool, you would like throw shade and like bring up something that I did in the past, you know what I mean? I'm trying to think of an example, like, we was talking one time, and we was having a good time. We was cool. We was getting along. Cause like I said, it's been pretty cool for the last, you know, the last couple encounters have been pretty cool. And he was like, "Oh yeah, let me be quiet because we know how, you know, you get when somebody cut you off." And I'm like, bro, I thought we moved past that. Like, you know, I know you joking. He tried to cover it with a he. You know, it's like when people say they joking, but they really not joking. You know what I mean? They really serious, and they try to like just say, "Oh, I was joking." No, you serious, nigga. You know what I'm saying? But I'm bringing this video to a close. It's a lot of things I probably could have said. A lot of things I want to probably say that I can't think of right now, but yeah, man, you gotta let motherfuckers go sometime, bro. Motherfuckers don't be in your corner. And situations like this are good because it really helps you see like where a person is. Some people just, their perception of you has changed. They want to like you, but they really don't. Or they may like you, but they may also dislike you. I think we forget that. Like two things, people can have mixed feelings and emotions about you. Like two things can exist at once. A motherfucker can like you and I like you. You know what I mean? They may like your company, and they may have feelings for you, or they may care about you, but they just don't get along with you. That can also be you know, a reality. You know, they may care about you, you know what I mean, because of your history with them, and because things used to be good and well, but because of all the fights and all the arguments and all the conflict and all the problems and dysfunction that took place in the relationship that they haven't quite emotionally moved on from or healed from, it's forever changed their perception of you, and it's going to be really hard to ever get like this clean slate, or for them to ever be back in the place that good place that they were with you, because the damage has been done. You know what I mean? And it don't even have to be anything severe or anything that deep. You know what I mean? It can be one little teeny thing. It takes one little small thing for a person to change their whole perception of you. Trust me. You can do one little small thing. You can fucking they can come in your house and see that you left the dishes unclean. It'll change their whole perception of you. Okay? Trust me. I know, because I've been that person. So yeah, it's really hard for people to change their perception, especially when it goes from a positive to a negative. It's hard for them to get that positive perception of you back. You know what I mean? And so yeah, man, sometimes you just gotta let motherfuckers go, man. But that's all I have to say. This video to a close is at 24 minutes. I just wanted to get this off my chest because it really just pissed me the fuck off. I hate when people do that, when they try to take their issues with you and apply it to a friendship. That it's like, stop. This is not about us, bro. It's not about us. This is about me and this person. You know what I mean? Like, they're not you. The issues I have in the issues that we have in our relationship, stop assuming that it's the same in my relationship with this person. You know what I'm saying? But maybe that's why you shouldn't be telling your friend issues that you're having with another friend. Later, y'all.